There's a more accurate way to simulate refraction, and reflection for that matter, called ray tracing. Ray tracing is a rendering algorithm, and a long time ago, ray tracing was a separate renderer in Max and Viz. Now it's integrated into the core, so that you can use ray tracing with every renderer. I'll give you a conceptual overview. Ray tracing works backwards compared to the other renderers because it begins by considering the output on the picture plane. It thinks of each pixel on the picture plane as a ray of light. These rays are traced backwards through the scene, where they either reflect off of or refract through objects. Each time this happens, the color is altered in the light ray, and it depends upon the material of the object. These rays continue to reflect and refract through the scene until they ultimately enter the light sources from which they were emitted. Ray tracing offers the most accurate reflection and refraction, but as you can imagine, it's computationally expensive, meaning it takes a lot of time. Let's examine ray tracing here for refraction. I'd like to clear out the thin wall refraction map. I'll drag this None button into the component. This is a quick way of clearing out a component. Then I'll click on the Refractions None button and select the Ray Trace map. Now look at Active Shade. It's taking a lot of time to calculate this simple scene because it had to trace each pixel backwards through the scene, and it had to calculate a lot of information to display this rendering. I'll set trace mode to refraction in this case because that's all I'm concerned with right now. You can accelerate the ray tracer by attenuating the calculation. I'll open the attenuation rollout. This will limit the amount of ray tracing that takes place by limiting the distance that it will be calculated in. Right now, when fall off type is off, rays of light have to be traced all the way back into infinity. I'll set this at exponential, and this will slightly accelerate the calculation because now we are only ray tracing within this spatial range from 0 to 100 units away from the picture plane. I'll go back to the parent, and you can see how the ray trace information is really dominating this material. I no longer see the filter color, for example. I'll turn down refraction to 50%, and then it will combine with the other qualities of the material. So now we're able to see the filter color. The more objects you have in the scene, the longer the ray tracing calculation will take because of greater object interreflection.